I will call the meeting to order. We will go on to item 2, adoption of agenda. Anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Deputy Warden LeBlanc. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, motion is carried. 2B, declaration of conflict of interest. Any items on the agenda that puts you in conflict? If not, we'll go on to 3, presentations. There are no presentations tonight. Item 4, presentation of minutes. 4.1, October 28th, swearing in ceremony. Any errors or omissions? Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, motion is carried. 4.2, 28th October, regular council meeting. Any errors or omissions? Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Godet. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, motion is carried. And 4.3, November 4th, 2020, council and committee meeting. Any errors or omissions? Moved by Deputy Warden LeBlanc, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. Item 5, business arising from previous council meetings. We have nothing on the agenda unless somebody wants to bring something for discussion from the minutes. If not, Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. Can we discuss something in the minutes? I have something else, but it's not in the minutes. Is it related to the minutes? His mic was off. Next, we will go on to the Warden's activity report. On October 30th, I attended a meeting with Lisa Richard from ACOA to discuss projects we have on the go and to see what we plan for the future. November 2nd, we attended, Mr. Sear and myself, to a meeting with the mayors and wardens in Yarmouth to discuss the lobster crisis in our community. And these are all the mayors from the counties of Digby, Yarmouth, and Shelburne. The committee realizes that there is a lot of pressure on our community. We have a lot of support from the other municipalities, which is good, but I think most of the discussion was public security, especially with the fishing that will open on November 30th. There were some challenges that there will be people who will try to block the road to the wharf, and there were discussions, so we wanted to make sure that the government is aware of that. And as we discussed at the committee and council, there was a letter signed from all the municipalities to ask for pressure on the minister and the government. The fishing economy is what keeps our communities going, and it's time that they bring the people together to find a solution, because it's already having a negative impact on our community, and we don't know where it's going. It could get worse. On November 3rd, I attended to a board of meeting of the Acadian Economic Development via Zoom. On November 4th, there was the meeting at University of Saint Anne Board of Governors. November 7th, I attended a interview with Michel Doucette to discuss the project of welcoming committee with Radio-Canada. It lasted 14 minutes. It was a bit wrong, but it was long, but it was good questions. On November the 11th, we attended the Remembrance Day celebrations with Councillor DeVoe at the Veterans Center in Clare. And November 12th, I attended to his supper with the doctors of the medical center at the Robichaud Cuisine, and to meet a student in medicine who might be coming here in the future. So it was a good meeting. Do you have any questions? I went through rather quickly, but if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. If not, we will go on to 7 official statements from the members of council. Any official presentations? The only one I have is that the CSAP School Board had their swearing in, and they named Marcel Cotreau as president of the school board. We all know Marcel, he's from the area, and I think they did a good choice. For the people on the Villa committee, he's president of the Villa committee, so we should send a letter of congratulations if you all agree. Any more official presentations? Next, we will go on to correspondence. 8.1, Shauna Camo and Erin Amiro, the Clare Community Health Board.
Internet access is a population health issue, as it creates inequities for work and educational opportunities, increases social isolation, and poses barriers to community services and healthcare. Sense of belonging is measured by the Nova Scotia Health Plan Profile 2015, because having community connections impacts health, and by extension, health costs. We know from this same document that sense of belonging is strong in Nova Scotia compared with the rest of Canada. Yet this strength of our province is severely impacted by the social isolation, which is not only pronounced during the pandemic, but often ongoing for rural people and people with mobility issues. Internet access is crucial in Nova Scotia, for Nova Scotia residents to stay connected with their communities and with needed services, particularly so in rural areas. Small business, self-employed people, and the increasing numbers of people who work from home for reasons both pandemic-related and not all depend upon reliable, high-speed internet to function. Meeting their needs carries enormous potential economic benefit for Nova Scotia, including the ability to attract vibrant populations and accompanying strong tax bases. Conversely, we see the lack of internet services contributing to job losses and population loss in underserved areas. The time to turn the tide is now. We are cognizant of the initiatives to extend high-speed internet that are taking place in rural areas throughout the province. While rural residents wait for access, however, we see several ways in which the municipality can support the needs of community members. These steps address the urgent need of residents during regular times, as well as the heightened needs demonstrated by COVID-19 restrictions. They include the timely establishment of community Wi-Fi access points, such as fire halls and community centers that can serve all residents without high-speed internet and can continue to serve low-income residents after the establishment of service. Ensuring that you are taking full advantage of programs such as universal broadband and the CRTC Broadband Fund. The development and publicization of detailed plans for internet parity with timelines, including measures to ensure affordability of both internet access and devices for low-income residents. We appreciate your focus on this essential service and meeting the needs of all Canadians. In conclusion, we ask that you include the community health boards in any consultation processes and work with us to identify opportunities for mutual support to best serve our communities and create equality for services and opportunities for all residents of Clare. Sincerely yours, Shauna Camo and Erin Amiro.
Are there questions or comments? Councillor DeVoe? Thank you, Mr. Warden. After I read the letter, I wasn't really sure what they were asking for. So I called Shauna to get a little bit more information. Obviously, they were a bit on the late train because I told them that what they asked in the letter, I told them that we were almost done this, that the internet is being connected as we speak, the high-speed internet. So that surprised her. So I explained why some places in the area, there are places where they haven't even started yet, and we're almost done. So she told me later that this letter was sent not only to us, but to different places where they don't have, where the internet project hasn't even begun yet. So then I understood this letter was actually sent to several different places, but she was very surprised when she learned that we were very well, that things were going well with this internet project. So then I understood what the letter was all about. I had spoke with Clyde de Villiers also, and maybe there's a little bit of work to do to promote our project, but as you say, it's what they ask for. It's pretty much going forward. So things are moving forward with this. So the only place that they talk about is community Wi-Fi, and there is some at some places, the library, places like that, but it's something we can look at when the internet is up and running. If we want to set up in municipal properties some Wi-Fi, but that's it. Are there questions or comments? Yes? Thank you. Just a small comment. She told me that it wasn't advertised a whole lot, but I told her there were some press releases. Maybe it's a little bit hard to do more, but maybe we could do something else. But I did tell her that we did put out some press releases and that nothing was done really in hiding. When will we have our next municipal newsletter? Will there be one soon, or? There's one that came out recently. He's sorry, I'm looking at Amy here. It's at the printers now, so it'll come out soon. There's no doubt that the internet project was advertised. There's no doubt about that, but I think that we weren't part of the other publicity, and that caused some confusion because we were kind of ahead of everyone else. So, but when it came out for Yarmouth, Argyll, Barrington, we were already well underway. So maybe that's where there was some confusion. Are there other questions or comments? 8.2. Pam Mood, Nova Scotia Federation of Municipalities.
Months have been difficult times for everyone, and we recognize the challenges municipalities have had and are still facing. Throughout the pandemic, NSFM and AMA Nova Scotia have been all hands on deck working on behalf of municipalities. Many staff and volunteer hours have been spent to help provide resources and information to municipalities during the pandemic. Included in these efforts was the data collected from the NSFM report, which identified the need for assistance and formed the basis for the $67 million in restart funding for municipalities. In fact, municipalities will be receiving $1,067,000 more than was identified. This is a good news story. NSFM and AMA, like municipalities, are feeling the impacts of COVID-19 with significant losses in revenue from canceled events. While municipalities are receiving the much needed help that they deserve from the restart funding, NSFM and AMA are still struggling. It is uncertain when the two organizations will be able to resume holding conferences at full capacity again. These events are critical funding mechanisms for both organizations. Therefore, it is proposed that the municipalities be billed a one-time restart fee to help the AMA and NSFM at a time when municipalities need the two organizations most. This would equate to 15% of the extra $1,067,000 going to municipalities, and would be split between the two organizations to help offset lost revenue and operating expenses due to COVID-19. Each municipal unit will be billed based on their allocation of the additional $1,067,000 to ensure an equitable sharing of the redistribution. We do not believe this is a big ask, as it will leave 85% of the extra money that municipalities did not initially ask for, and equates to less than 0.25% of the total restart funding allocations to municipalities. Attached to this letter is a one-time invoice for your municipality's allocation. We hope you will support your municipality's organizations. We hope that you will support your municipal organizations. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Yours truly, Pam Mood, President, NSFM, Mike Dolter, President, AMA Nova Scotia. So that was invoiced to the municipality of Clare, was a relatively small amount in this case, $825, which is to be split evenly between the two associations. So we went ahead and paid that invoice, given it was a relatively small amount. And they did put in a considerable amount of work at the front end of this application.
Are there questions, comments? If not, we'll go to 9, CAO report. Thank you. On the subject of internet, I won't talk about it a whole lot tonight because I sent an overview to the council and committee meeting last week. However, I would just like to add that to add a few updates that I received today. One is that the work at the Grosscock Wharf is they're getting replaced right now. The work started today, so that was a key activity to be able to launch the internet in the phases, so that's good. And still, Nova Scotia Power, so the building that Mainland built behind the cultural hub that has all the equipment, Nova Scotia Power was on site today to hook up that building. So I think the work there is done, especially for the permits and everything. As far as I know, the work was done today. And finally, I know that Mainland is discussing with Develop Nova Scotia to have a bigger network to include areas that are not currently covered. So there was Victor Lake Estates, a few sections of Hectanuga, further out on Bonnie Road. So speaking with the guy from Mainland today, they said that the reception they had was really good. They sent an amendment for the original contract, and all they're waiting for right now is confirmation from Nova Scotia Internet Trust to be able to include these sites into their map. So that's really good news. For Tourism Public Spaces project, we have fallen back a bit. We've had the conceptual plans. They are working on the plans. We have not received them yet. We were supposed to get them in November, but it looks now as if we'll get them at the beginning of December. Once we get them, Larry Peach and myself and other staff members, we will review them, offer some feedback to the consultant. We think that we'll be able to do a presentation to council before the holidays, but the presentation to the members of the public will probably only be in January because we don't want to do it too close to the holidays and all the logistics of how we want to do the presentations and all that, format, location, etc. For the Clare Veterans Center, we received an estimate for the extension, for the cost of the extension that we're proposing. We met Rad Architects today to discuss the project and the cost estimates. The reason why we wanted to speak with them was because there are some items that they included that we had already included as part of the project, of the bigger project that we were proposing for the Clare Veterans Center. So we just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any doubling up. And also we wanted to have the opportunity to question some of the costs and see if some were really necessary and how they determine those costs. So it was a good discussion. From there, I think what I'm being told is that the engineers will take these cost estimates and validate them. And from there, RAD Architects will take this information and complete their design drawings and finalize the specs for the project and the tender package. So we think it will be done after the holidays, January or February. However, when we have the cost estimates that we're working on right now, we'll be able to submit some finance requests for the project. So since we'll only have the specs after the holidays, January or February, it's nothing that will necessarily make us fall behind on the project because we still have to work on finance for the project.
The project is simply to say that we participated in activities during the Immigration Week events from November 1st to the 7th. We received a good media coverage. There were articles in the Yarmouth Vanguard, Radio Canada, as the warden mentioned, and also on 98 FM. We had a few advertising or promotion by the community. We are working on how to build relations and partnerships. Now that the contract has been signed, we are in a position to really go into the project, and that's what we're working on now. The breakwater in Bellevos Cove, it's going forward. I spoke with the contractor this week, and they will start to bring in rocks for the armor stones on the site this week. And from there, they plan to start the project shortly. They went to see this week. I advised Riverside Lobster also that there will be activity there, and we do not want to affect their operations there. If there is a problem, to let us know. For our action plan in housing, the request for offers will close at 3 o'clock on Friday, November 20th. And from there, the staff and myself, we will revise the tenders. And we hope to be able to present a recommendation to you at the Council in Committee meeting in December. Asset management that we have now is going well. We submitted our request to FCM in there for help in the creation of the action plan. The program that they have finances 90% of the cost of the plan to a maximum of $50,000. FCM received the request 2 weeks ago, and this is a national program that is highly sought after, and it deals with about 30 applications per month. That's what they tell us. Presently, they are treating presentations, tenders, 100 to 150, and our request is 491. So they are saying that they don't need anything from us for now. It will take time, but they assure us that they will deal with it when they get there. So for now, we just wait for information from them. And if there is anything they need, we will give it to them. I met with Bruce McCullough from MCC regarding the possibility of installing fast chargers in Clare. It's essentially for fast charge stations for electric vehicles. This is from a REN project. It's an application that Nova Scotia Power is directing, with Natural Resources Canada that has a program called Zero Emission Infrastructure Program. And it's that program. The organizations like Nova Scotia Power can submit requests. The maximum they can ask for is 2 million. Inside that application, there can be many recipients. So if we choose to go forward and participate in the project, the municipality of Clare could be considered a recipient, which would mean that we would have access to financing of 50% to the maximum of $100,000. So the consultant was proposing 3 areas in Clare for level 3 chargers. A level 3 charger is about a 50 kilowatt charger that allows to charge a vehicle within 20 to 30 minutes for a distance, but it will be confirmed, but of about 200 kilometers. So it's not like chargers that we charge for 2 hours or 24 hours. It's quite fast. The charger can be hooked on the Nova Scotia Power grid, or there is also another option is to have a charger that is operated with solar technology and batteries, but these are more expensive. The goal of Nova Scotia Power is 2 things. One is to encourage the electric vehicles throughout the province, and secondly is to remove pressure from the grid. And it is certain that their preference is that these chargers be really solar or battery powered. So they're telling us, and they are still finalizing all this. There were discussions with the consultants, but they keep coming back with information. But the cost for one charger, the purchase and the installation, really the installation is more expensive than the charger itself. But we are looking at $100,000 for one. So at 50% financing, we are still looking at potentially $50,000 per charger if it is something that is of interest to the council. So my question to the consultant was, if we are talking of financial sources, are there any provincial financing from the province that could help us? He wasn't certain. So we will still continue the discussion. I just wanted to mention this. We will come back with this. I just want to make sure that the council is interested in actively pursuing this. For this program, we are looking at December 10th, 2020, and even the consultant is saying that they're not sure if they will be able to meet that date. There is a second program that is very similar to this one, but we have to go to Natural Resources Canada, which would be open until May 2021 if we are not able to meet the December 10th deadline. So we will still be able to investigate this project and submit it later. But I will come back with more information, more detailed information at the next meeting, and you can think about it. The sidewalks in Meteghan, as you know, we gave the contract to Able Engineering. That's for the repairs of a section of the sidewalk and the construction of a new sidewalk. Able was in the area last week. He was here almost all week to complete the first phase of their service, topographical survey, and there was a machine in Meteghan to pick up all the information they needed. He wanted to do that before the winter comes with the snow and everything. So ourselves, shortly, we will try to explore and find some federal and provincial grants to finance the sidewalk. The goal is, if we can find those programs, is to start the project in the spring 2021. For the track and field project, the request was submitted to the province on September 30th, 2020 for consideration. and that is under the Rural Northern Communities Infrastructure. So you have the provincial part and also the federal part that is administered by the province. So the project in question includes a track of 8 alleys and with a rubber surface as well as soccer in the middle with an artificial turf. So we are talking about a project of 3.5 million that we are working on now. The municipal contribution would be 400,000, which is excellent leveraging there. So the discussions until now have been very positive. I spoke with them this week, and the province is waiting news from the federal contribution. So as soon as we have something there, I will advise you.
For the finances, the municipality is still in good position. At October 31st, 2020, there were revenues versus $5,857,538 in expenses for a operational surplus of $740,709. On October 31st still, the municipality had a balance of $2,700,000 approximately, for a total in reserve of $6,277,946. So that 6.3 million can be divided in the following way. In our operational reserve, $2,161,998. In the capital project reserve, $2,795,541. In the landfill closure reserve, $331,640,000. And finally, in the gas tax reserve, $988,967. So once again, financially, we're in a solid position. Are there questions? Councillor Camo? It's more or less a comment. For the high-speed internet, I went on the supplier's website, Mainland Telecom, and the map is more visible and there seems to be more details. We can see the villages, the road names, etc. So it's good to see. There are 3 different phases, I think. It's good to see. The map is less detailed than the information that we have ourselves as employees and councillors, but their intention is to continually improve this map and to set it up in a way that you can put in your civic address, and they'll be able to tell you if you will have access to the system and give specific information for you and your household. So speaking with Mainland, they said that it's something that they are that they want to do. They say that in a few weeks they hope to be able to offer that. Are there other questions?
We should pursue the charging station project, and I think I'd be interested in seeing a lot more information on it, because they're really good things. They're really good for tourism and everything. I think we should pursue it.
If I may, the consultant was basically just going off of when we spoke. He had some very basic information of Clare, and basically just working off of Google Maps as what he deemed to be potential sites or sites that could be of interest. When I spoke with him, and Pam was on the call with me, we were pushing him more towards sites that were owned by the municipality, so that way we could ensure continued access. The sites that he was proposing, I understand his rationale for proposing them, because they were close to both highway exits, one in Metagan and one in St. Bernard. Our thought would be to have them at sites owned by the municipality. That way we maintain a certain, we can ensure accessibility. But also it forces people to get off the highway and come into the community. So to your point, Councillor Hill, it does have a definite benefit in terms of tourism. And obviously, while they're in the area charging their vehicles, the hope is that they'll stay and explore much longer. So, Yeah, I think the project certainly has potential, and my thought was to put it on the agenda for the council and committee meeting on December 2nd, with the hopes that by that point I would have more concrete information for you as to potential locations, a better handle on the cost, the possibility of provincial funding, etc. The actual application, what's required from us, should we want to participate as part of the December application, assuming it goes forward, because we aren't necessarily the lead applicant, in terms of actually writing the application, that doesn't fall on us. So the expectation of us is really just 2 forms to fill out, essentially asking us to confirm, which essentially in a nutshell asks us to confirm our funding amount and whether or not we actually own the land that the charger is going to sit on. And that's from the sounds of it and from the documentation I saw from the consultant, it doesn't appear to be much more complicated than that. But I will do a bit more digging and get back to you.
As-tu d'autres questions?
Are there other questions? The only question I would have would be around the project for the Clare Veterans Center, where you talk about the prices when they are more precise, and that you would look for some funding, but will council have a chance to look at the prices before we go to that phase, just in case? Yes, definitely. I should have explained better that we hope to have the costs at a level that we think is reasonable. From there, I will make the presentation to you to ensure that you still agree with what we include in the project, because there's what RAD is proposing, but there's also other elements that we had discussed earlier. So the goal is to arrive at a consensus with the council to have a total amount, and from there go and try to find some funds. Are there other questions? Thank you for the nice report. Next we'll go to 10, committee reports. 10.1, building permits. Councillor Hill.
Yes, the building activity report, as of October 2020, we had 220 permits issued for a value of construction of $8,283,000. Compared to October of last year, we had 188 permits. It was $7,784,000 of construction. So we're still doing better than last year at this time. So.
Very good. Are there questions or comments? We'll go to 10.2, Police Advisory Board. Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. There, we had a meeting Monday, November 16th. It was my first meeting on the committee. It was very interesting. A couple of things that I would like to bring forward tonight. I'm just going over my notes. Corporal Jeff LeBlanc was with us at the meeting. He's now responsible for the Meteghan detachment, because the Sergeant Daniel Goda is absent at the moment. We don't know for how long. So we spoke with Jeff about his role. We also spoke a bit about Joey Del Duca, if people remember. We had some issues in Meteghan River. It was an incident that happened on June 29th of this year. Mr. Del Duca was charged with 13 charges, and we're still waiting. It's a little bit they're a little bit behind as everything else. We're still waiting for his plea in court. So it'll still be a while before it's all over. But just to say publicly that his firearms, his guns were removed from his house So there are no firearms, and he cannot have some anymore until he goes to court. Everything has been removed, so it's just something to. We just wanted to clarify that to the public that it is happening. It's just taking some time. We also talked a lot about what is happening, the conflict that is happening out in the Bay Sainte Marie, the ocean. I think the public knows pretty much what's going on with there. We don't have to go into a lot of detail with that, but we were reassured that the RCMP, at the moment that their command post, the command post is currently in Yarmouth. But that doesn't mean that they're in Yarmouth and that we have to wait until they come here. It just means that their meetings are there. That's just where they have their work space for meetings, etc. And we were also reassured that there are currently between 102 and 108 RCMP members in our regions, which doesn't mean only Clare, but that would be from Digby to the South Shore, that there are between 102 and 108 extra RCMP members. That is not including the members that we have here in the area. Those are extras. So I think we are well taken care of by the police.
Also to mention that we have heard from people who say sometimes that the policemen who are here to work on that file, on the fishing file, they will not stop somebody for speeding or for other things that aren't good. That I just want to tell the public that it's not right. That's not true. They are policemen. They will do the work that they have to do. If they are on the road and they see somebody who speeds or other things, they will be stopped. They are not here only to work on the file on the problems on the bay. So just want to tell that to the public. And so that's it for fishing. We also went through the current stats. That means things that have taken place in the Clare area. And this is from April, the 1st of April, 2020 until November 1st, 2020. That includes all the calls that they made, that they had, abandoned vehicles, as far as well-being checks, the cases where they check on the public. So that includes everything. And at that time, they had 965 calls. If somebody would like to have a copy of the report, I have it here. I can copy it, or I can leave it in the office also. We spoke also a bit on the Littlebrook Road. That's the road that goes to exit 29. There was a concern on the speed, that the public finds that the speed limit, people are going too fast. And I went to check today, and the speed limit is 80 on that road. We would think that it should be, we would think that is more because it's an open road and it is large, but it's not any faster than other roads. The limit is 80. And I also saw that there are people there are people who are going over 80. So I just want to reassure the public that the speed limit is 80 and it's not more. The RCMP will keep an eye on that and try to solve the problem. So that is my report. Mr. Sear was at the meeting. I don't know if you have anything to add. No, that's a good account of the meeting. The only thing that I would add is on the COVID, because Sergeant LeBlanc mentioned it. They want to reassure the people of Clare that the 102 to 180 members who are new to the community are all members who come from the Atlantic provinces, and they were from inside the Atlantic bubble. These are not members from other provinces outside the area. He just wanted to clarify that, and that we tell that to the public. Any questions? Thank you for the report. Okay, we will go on to 11, new business. 11.1, motion to award a contract, Clare Ground and Search and Rescue Well. As we mentioned at the last meeting, our building that harbors the volunteers of the ground search and rescue do not have presently any water. The water that was supplied to the building came from Seacrest Fisheries, and because there was a leak that they had, they had to close the valves, and by doing that, to continue to operate, and it closed the water that we had to that building. And then we started to look at the situation, and Seacrest offered to be able to continue to use their water once the repairs to their system was made, and that was greatly appreciated. But the recommendation of the staff, who are aware of the problem, is to look at the possibility to dig our own well and not be dependent on somebody else from a private business or a private individual for the water to our building. So with the permission of the council, we looked at the possibility of getting a well dug. We spoke to 3 contractors for tenders. We received 3 tenders, and the recommendation of the staff was to grant the contract to K&D Rogers Well Drilling Limited, who had the lowest rate of $22 per foot of drilling. And the recommendation to the council is that we grant the contract to K&D Rogers at $22 per foot. Does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award the contract to construct a new well at the offices of Clare Ground and Rescue, Search and Rescue, to K&D Rogers Well Drilling Limited at a rate of $22 per foot of drilling, and that these funds be taken from the capital reserve of the municipality. Anybody wish to second the motion? Seconded by Councillor Hill. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor indicate by saying yes. Contrary, no. Motion is carried. 11.2, motion to name a road, Neri Deveau Road. We were approached by 3 brothers who wanted to name the private road where they live on behalf of their father. The 3 brothers are the only owners who have land on that road. The 3 are in agreement on the proposed name. It is a name that is not being used on another road in the municipality, and that we can translate from French to English. In consulting with Daniel Godet, who looks at civic addressing, the proposed name respects our policies, so the recommendation of the staff is that we proceed with their request, and we name it the Neri Deveau Road in English. Anybody wish to make the motion?
I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare name the road shared by the PID numbers 303-67932, 303-67940, 303-67957 as the Neri Devou Road in English, and in French, Chemin Neri Devou.
Quelqu'un qui appuie ça?
Someone who wants to second the motion? Seconded by Deputy Warden LeBlanc. All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. 11.3, motion to send a letter, cell phone reception. That was Councillor Potier that had brought that to the council and committee meeting. I don't know if Councillor Potier wanted to discuss it, or it's just the residents are getting a little bit worried about the cell phone reception because a lot of people have let go of their landline, and so their cell phone is their main source of communication, and now the reception is horrible. So I propose that we send a letter to the supplier. So I can do the motion. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare send a letter to Bell Canada, Eastlink, and Rogers Communications regarding the state of cell phone reception in Clare. Seconded by Councillor Comeau. Is there discussion on the motion? Since the council and committee meeting, I had a few calls about that subject. Some people have businesses in Clare and they do a lot of business on their cell phones and they think it's extremely difficult. So I think we'll have to, even today I received a call on that topic. So especially people who do some business with people from outside the province and they don't have good reception. So it's certainly important that that issue is addressed. Is there discussion? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. 11.4, motion to send a letter, Prix Grand Pré, Ryan Doucette. Ryan Doucette, as you know, was received the is the recipient for 2020 of the Prix Grand Pré, the Grand Pré Award. It's an important prize in the cultural and arts domain for the Francophone and Canadian communities, and it is quite an honor to receive such a prize. So we thought it would be a good idea to send a letter to Monsieur Doucette to congratulate him for this accomplishment. So the recommendation is that we write a letter and that on behalf of the council, a letter be sent to him to congratulate him for his accomplishment. Someone who wants to move the motion? Deputy Warden LeBlanc. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare send a letter of recognition to Ryan Doucette, the 2020 recipient of the Prix Grand Pré Award. Seconded by Councillor Doucette. Is there discussion? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. Next, 11.5, motion to send a letter, mutual aid agreement. That's the deputy warden that had brought back to the last meeting. I don't know if you want to talk about it, or Mr. Siri, yes? Yeah, this was just to send a letter to see if there was interest in the Yarmouth municipality to sign a mutual aid that would help if we had fires, if we had fires that needed help from fire departments that are close, if they could come. And same thing if they had a fire that was close to our territory, if our firefighters could help them out. So I'll make the motion. I move that the council of the municipality of the District of Clare send a letter to the municipality of Yarmouth proposing the establishment of a mutual aid agreement pertaining to the provision of fire services. Seconded by Councillor Hill. Is there discussion? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. 11.6, motion to send a letter lobster fishery in St. Mary's Bay. As I mentioned in my report, all the mayors and wardens of the 3 counties met. The discussion was especially on, all the municipalities have sent letters to the minister with their concerns, security concerns, and also with the fact that there have been no actions by the DFO to try to address these concerns, the concerns that we have as a community and as an area. So I think that one of the big things was that all of Southwest Nova Scotia, the economy here in the Southwest is very much based on the lobster fishery, and if something happens to this industry, the communities will be in great difficulty, will experience great difficulty. So to start, it was important that we met to discuss as one voice to show the importance that it wasn't just one municipality or 2, but that it touches several municipalities. And one of the things that we also wanted to do before the fishery opened in District 34 and 35 was to send a letter to the minister to let her know of our concerns with the security, that it's opening, and that, once again, to ask her for a meeting as a group to be able to communicate these concerns. So I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add. I don't think so. I think you touched on the key points there. I don't have nothing more to add. That being said, we need a motion to send a letter to the minister. Is someone ready to do the motion? Councillor DeVoe? I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the proposed letter to the Minister of Fisheries, Oceans, and the Canadian Coast Guard, the Honorable Bernadette Jordan, and the Prime Minister of Canada, the Honorable Justin Trudeau, regarding the ongoing lobster fishery dispute in St. Mary's Bay. Someone who wants to second the motion? Seconded by Councillor Gaudin. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. 11.7, motion to send a letter, speed limit review. Was it Councillor Potier who had brought that? Yes. That was still during the electoral campaign when I was going from house to house. There are 2 roads in question, Maxwellton Road, which is next to the Frenchie that goes to the old dump that we say, to the ocean. And the second is the 2nd Division Road up until Salmon River Road. There's no signs for the speed limit, and some residents are worried about that. So I would be ready to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare send a letter to the Nova Scotia Department of Transportation and Infrastructure Renewal asking it to review the speed limit on D'Outremont Road from 2nd Division Road to Salmon River Lake and Maxwellton Road from Highway 1 to the shore. Someone who wants to second the motion? Seconded by Deputy Warden. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. We'll go to 12, closed session. There are 2 items, 12.1, personnel matters, and 12.2, contract negotiations. So we'll need a motion to go to closed session. Moved by Councillor Dusa, seconded by Deputy Warden. All in favor indicate by saying yes. Against? Motion carried. Good night.